Hi everyone, this is the What's New in Hybrid Meetings. This is a recap of January 2022 from this year. So we're going to look at everything around meetings and devices and rooms, webinars. We'll look at what's new from the public information out there, from blog articles and roadmap as well. And we'll touch on and do a recap of what's changed in the public Microsoft Teams roadmap for meetings and devices. And we'll touch on and have a look at what's launched, rolling out and in development as well. So this deck can be downloaded. So it's aka.ms/what's new meetings. Release dates, timings are subject to change in this article. This presentation just contains items that are relevant for hybrid meetings in Teams, not all of the Teams roadmap. So if we look at what's new for Teams meetings and webinars, we've got items around press to unmute, custom background on web, music mode for Teams, mirror my video. We've got some updates around isolated audio feed capabilities, hardware out with AJA Blackmagic design hardware as well when looking at meetings and events. Also something in update coming, hitting to customers soon is Teams meeting recording automatic expiration as well, but we'll go into those in more details in a minute. Teams devices, particularly Teams rooms on Windows, huge amount of updates this month with the latest software update for Teams rooms on Windows. Front row is now in preview, so that is awesome to see that, and that is hitting customers at the moment and rolling out. So you do need the software version on you get MTR on Windows up to date. But there is also a web component that needs to be updated as well. So although some customers have got the right software version, they're not seeing front row just yet. But that is rolling out now, and I suspect will be there for almost everybody this week or next week. That software update also brings even more. So switching between multiple video cameras on Teams rooms on Windows, Cortana updates, skills now available in additional languages. There's a calling app update, Meet Now support, and AAD conditional access support on Teams rooms on Windows. So these are all Teams rooms on Windows updates. There's some device updates. The Poly Studio E70 is certified. There's some a headset and speakerphone from Lenovo as well. And the Meta, formerly Facebook, portal has a Teams experience, so you can put the Teams app on the Facebook portal as well. Some management updates for devices. Particularly interesting is the scoped Teams device administration role. And I think we spoke about this last month, but Surface Hubs can be managed in Teams Admin Center. And there is now a new device trade-in for Microsoft Teams as well. So let's go through. That's just a recap of those meetings and webinars updates. Let's go and have a look into them as well. So first one, press to unmute. You now have the ability to go into Team settings and use a keyboard shortcut to unmute yourself. So this does rely on you being on mute and using the keyboard shortcut. So press and hold Control and Spacebar to unmute yourself. You can access that in Teams settings, privacy. This feature is turned on by default, and it's aimed at allowing you to stay muted and to avoid unwanted background noise and only unmute yourself when you want to speak. So that's rolling out. So I've used that. It's good. Going forward, we have got custom background on web. So those custom backgrounds from Teams desktop client now available for web users as well. So you can blur or select from some of the Microsoft provided backgrounds. As well, that's launched there as well. So we've now got some parity. Music mode. So music mode for Teams. So this is high fidelity music mode. This enables Teams users to experience richer sound experiences when sharing non-speech content. So when sharing live music, songs through other applications. It does also note medical signals during virtual appointments. So it enables this to have significantly improved audio quality when sharing music through Teams, and that's rolling out as well. Mirror my video. So you no longer have to see text in your video flipped. So particularly in education scenarios, perhaps with whiteboards, where the person's video preview everything is the wrong way around or mirrored. So now you have the options to mirror your video as well. So there is an example there around, imagine a primary school teacher with a small whiteboard in hand. While in the meeting, the audience sees the text correctly, but you see the text flipped. So now you can change the options in device settings, and you can toggle off mirror my video, and that's rolling out. Isolated audio feed capabilities. So more around using this around events or broadcasters, but now we can create high quality, clean audio mix with a new isolated audio feed capability. So this is with broadcasters using NDI or hardware out. You can capture isolated audio feed along with isolated video feed as well. So particularly in those advanced production for events, this functionality is very welcomed. This is in public preview at the moment. Similarly, again, for production teams, that there is the option to then send video to hardware with AGA and Blackmagic design hardware. So you do need particular hardware to do this functionality. So they've partnered with 2 industry leaders. You can go and enable that feature if you need to as well. The teams will recognize the hardware and enable sending of individual media streams out to the hardware directly as a clean feed. So you can see a little image of that there, but it needs to be from those 2 industry leaders. That's rolling out. The Teams meeting recordings automatic expiration. So there's a few tech community articles on this. This is a change that is coming, and this is aimed at helping administrators more easily manage storage in OneDrive and SharePoint by introducing a policy that would automatically delete meeting recordings after a period of time. It would send them to the recycle bin. So you can go and change this if you need to. There's been some studies that have been done around how many people view old meeting recordings and after how long. At the moment in the tech community post, that is they would be sent to the recycle bin after 60 days, but an administrator can go and change this if they want to as well. So that's everything for meetings and webinars. We'll now move on to devices and particularly go and have a look at all the updates for Teams Rooms on Windows. So front row preview. So this is in preview. And this is the new layout where we bring everybody to, everyone has a seat at the table, whether they're in person or remote, all at eye level. And you can see there an image of front row. And you've got participants on one side, chat, transcriptions on there. And this is a new layout for Teams Rooms on Windows, designed to enhance that hybrid meeting experience and to provide in-room participants with greater context with what's happening. So all remote attendees can be seen at eye level as well. And there's another screenshot here. So if you've got dual displays, you can also have a bit more flexibility and have front row across multiple displays with content and sharing on one as well. So there is front row is available for all Teams Rooms on Windows, single and dual display modes across all display sizes. It is recommended to use 1080p resolution for optimal viewing experiences. There is some information on docs around optimizing front row experience. There has been cases where customers have changed the default settings and used zoom in mode, and it is altering how front row is displayed. So there is an article of how to optimize front row for Teams Rooms on Windows. So definitely go and check that out. And there is a note there that this is the initial public preview release of it, and more enhanced features will come later. There is a link at the bottom of this slide that takes you to the software version that's required for this. There's a new version that was released that brought all of these and all the other features we'll talk about as well. Switching between multiple video cameras in Teams Rooms on Windows. So if you have a Teams Rooms on Windows system with multiple cameras, you now have the ability to change cameras. So that's a nice thing to have. Perhaps you've got a camera facing all the room and a camera facing one direction. You can now go and change that as well. There is some Cortana updates for Teams Rooms on Windows as well. So the mic icon is now replaced with the Cortana avatar, and this is to improve usability. And the updated icon is on there somewhere. So Cortana voice activation is also now enabled by default for new device installations. But however, you still have the option to disable it. That's rolling out as well. And as well as the Cortana update there's Cortana skills now available in additional languages as well. So you can use Hey Cortana to join meetings, and sort of the new languages are aimed in the regions Australia, Canada, Great Britain, India, and the US. That is rolling out as well. There's some updates to the calling app. So making calls from Teams Rooms is now updated with the new calling app. And there's a note there, all peer-to-peer calling and group calling functionality that was previously under new meeting is now under call. So there's a kind of a layout change there. So anybody sort of going through would need to go and update some of their documentation screenshots for this as well. And this, this update is only applicable if the Teams Rooms is running in Teams only mode. Hopefully, almost everybody is in Teams only mode with their Teams Rooms. Meet Now support. So this new software update has brought in the Meet Now experience, where you can start an ad hoc meeting with a single tap and then invite participants into it. So that's a change from you'd have to start a meeting and do that. So you can now use Meet Now. Azure Active Directory conditional access support for Teams Rooms on Windows. So admins can use identity-driven signals to control access for Teams Rooms on Windows device accounts, including access to Teams, Exchange Online services based on device compliance status. So I think there's some new signals that can be used with Teams Rooms on Windows as well. I've not used this, but that is rolling out, and there is an article I think Michael Tresler's working on at the moment around that. The Poly Studio E70. So this is one of the intelligent cameras that will be coming to Teams Rooms, where we can get multiple views, a panoramic view, but we can also take individual feeds out of a meeting room, so everybody can have their own video window within a meeting. So this camera is for, it noted large meeting rooms is now certified as a camera for Teams Rooms on Windows, so it's got certification now. And this has dual lens, 20 megapixel 4K sensors, and has that wide angle and narrow lens for maximum room coverage. And the videos of the intelligent cameras are awesome, and what they're doing in there as well. So go check that out. And it has their kind of group framing, speaker tracking, unique ability to transition undetected between two lenses. So also people moving around the room, following the speaker, switching the views as well, if there's multiple people in the room in different places. Lenovo have a new headset, the Lenovo Go, and they also have a wired speakerphone as well. So this, again, as we'd expect, brings enterprise-grade audio to remote workforce. We're probably familiar with this type of speakerphone from other vendors, but Lenovo now have a headset and a speakerphone as well. So you can go check their website for any more information on that as well. So Meta, formerly Facebook Portal, has now got a Teams experience, which looks and is very similar to the Teams display experience. So you can, on the Facebook Portal or Meta Portal, you can go and download the Teams app and install it on there as well. So this lets you, manage your schedules, Teams, calendars, participate in meetings, view chat files. So security on this is built in with Intune app protection. An additional license is required. I don't think you can, if customers have a requirement to manage these devices, I don't think you can have full Intune device management with a Meta portal or a Facebook portal at this time. So you can install the app, you can use it, but you need to just make note of if a customer wants to use it, that it meets in line with their security, because it is leveraging Intune app protection only at this time. But a great experience to have on the on these devices as well. So The updates with the scope device administration role. So this is particularly interesting where customers have got different administrators who want to administer only the devices that they would be responsible for. So there's an example here around if there's IT administrators perhaps in New York and administrators in Amsterdam and Bangalore, then you can create administrative units. And this leverages Azure Active Directory administration unit. And you can add users, device, room accounts into that administrative unit, associate it with the team's device administration role. And when an administrator goes and logs into the team's admin center, they would only see the devices shown in there, but they would also only see the devices that they are for the administration unit that they are assigned to. So if you only want to see the New York devices, you only associate the New York devices to the admin unit, associate the admin unit to the administrator, and you can do that. Administrators can be in multiple administration units, and you do have the ability to swap and change admin units as well. At the moment, you have to add the users into the administrative unit directly, I found. Even though the administrative unit has groups, I've tried and looked at putting devices and users into groups, associating the group with the unit, but that doesn't seem at the moment to display in Teams Admin Center, but maybe that would be coming soon. But that's great to have that, I guess, level of granularity for administrators to manage devices in Teams Admin Center. It only works with the Teams device administration role as well. It's not across all of the other Azure AD administrative roles for Teams. And Surface Hub. So this has been in the Teams Admin Center for a little while, but you can now manage Surface Hubs in there as well as your other Teams devices in there as well. And this is the new device trade-in for Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft, we've partnered with a company called Network Value. This is a US-based company, and they specialize in global device trade-in programs. So you can trade in any type of device or hardware, for example, a phone or a room system from any other vendor, and you can get you can trade this in and get competitive pricing from Network Value, and they can the customer can get some money back on these older devices, trade them in, they get recycled, and they also have global coverage as well. So although it's a US-based company, they say they have global coverage in there as well. So there is an AKA link, aka.ms/Teams device trade in. You can go and check that out as well. That's available to businesses of all sizes, from multinational enterprises to SMB as well. So if there's a customer going through a migration, they have a lot of old hardware, this is another option for them to trade in those devices and go through, and goes with our sustainability plans as well, and have them recycled as well. So that helps the customers go through that journey of trading in older equipment to move forward with Teams. That's everything for January. This is a quick look at what was in December. So there was a few items around meetings and webinars. I won't go into these in any detail. Operator Connect conferencing launched. That was one. You can go back and have a look at the last months on those as well. So leading next should be loaded. Roadmap. So let's go and have a quick look at the changes to the roadmap. So this is all of the changes for meetings and devices from last month. So we can see there's some new items for meetings in here, primarily focused on VDI. So give, take control for Teams on VDI for VMware, Azure Virtual Desktop, Windows 365, Citrix as well. Some new items for panels. So checkout for Teams panels, extend room reservations. There is some items there. Updated Cortana iconography for front of room display and console in Teams rooms. Cortana voice activation by default out of the box. And Cortana support expansion for additional languages. So there's some new items there that were added to the roadmap, which they may be some of the items that we've just spoken about, but they've been added to the roadmap last month. In development, there's a few in development for meetings and devices. particularly there's effective meetings for Viva Insights. Look at some of the others we've spoken about. Extend room reservations, check out for Teams panels. There's a few there that have been added as new items but are not as in development at the moment. Then when we go to launched and rolling out, there is a lot that has launched and a lot rolling out. I had to completely shift this slide to fit everything in. So if you look at everything that's launched around backgrounds effect on webs we spoke about, meeting roster updates for Teams rooms on Windows, lower all hands, dynamic view presenter mode, Teams Q&A. So the Q&A app is in public preview. Annotation for PowerPoint Live. Users can now search meeting participants from the roster. Now, if you look at all of rolling out, there's a lot around RTMP streaming support. So I have seen people sort of streaming meetings into LinkedIn Live. I've seen that is sort of rolling out and hitting a few tenants now. Pin your own video, hide your own video, and then a lot for devices, particularly Teams rooms or Windows that we've spoken about. But there's a lot in that category as well. Some are still rolling out, but a significant amount of items there launched and rolling out for Teams rooms on Windows. So massive excitement around Teams rooms overall and all the investment we're putting into that. That's everything for what's new in hybrid meetings for this month, and I thank you very much.